Welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour's Golden Hour. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited to be back. How are you doing, Susan?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited about today. And I can't believe I'm actually going to say this again, because if you haven't done it yet, you got to follow us. How are you going to know what we're saying, what we're doing, if you're not following? It's so darn easy. Just search for Bachelor Happy Hour in your podcast app. Hit the follow button, and then we'll be there.
We're like a ray of sunshine, right? If you hit the follow button, you're going to be notified every time we put out a new podcast, and you'll never miss one. So make sure you hit the follow button and leave us a review while you're there.
Oh, I love that too.
Yeah,
and ask some
that.
questions. Yes, Kathy. Yes. And make sure to check out all of our past episodes, because we have had some good ones. We've been having so much fun. I mean, some of those questions, how about the ones a little earlier about getting to know us? The things we tell, I'm telling you, that don't want to miss that one.
Yeah, you don't. You want to hear about Susan's Catholic school upbringing and how she dodged the boys. It's very interesting.
And you guys know how to do it by now. You just go bachelorhappyhour.com/golden hour. And we have some great questions and a fabulous guest today.
Oh, we do. Today, we have a true gem from Jen's season on The Bachelorette, her brother, James. Hi, James.
Yay.
Thanks
Hi,
so
James.
much for joining us.
How are you?
Okay.
Are you excited or nervous?
A little bit of both. Definitely
Okay,
a little bit of both.
I'm just going to come straight out with it. I used to be a newspaper writer. I'm an interviewer. I'm just going to start asking questions.
She
and
will ask a
fire
lot.
back the answers.
So you're going to start with that hat, I think.
The first thing I'm starting with the hat.
hat?
So the hat I know came from when Jen. Came.
There we go.
Jen was at
Yes.
Fenway Park. James, do you know where I'm from?
You're from Boston, no?
I am.
Yeah.
And do you know what I want?
My hat.
That's right. So I believe that you got a few of those hats. So Bachelor Nation, James,
I have a really small head, so get me a small one.
Are you going to
You
send
got
that?
it. Yes, I will promise on this recording, I will send you a hat. Yes.
Okay.
You
because-
heard it, ladies and
you heard
gentlemen.
it.
You are
Okay, now,
definitely here.
Susan, we're going to get to our questions in a minute. I just got to fire a few more. How old
All
are
right,
you,
go ahead.
James? Where do you live? What do you do?
God.
We want to know it
that's
all,
so many
James.
at once. Let's start at the beginning. I am too
Okay.
old. I live in
What's
Boston.
too old?
Too old. Too old is when you first wake up and you feel all things start to creak and you feel sore.
Susan,
That's
are
Baby,
you?
wait till you're my
That's
age.
too old.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm
we're
not
in
too
Bo-
old. I'm not
I
too
am
old.
your age. I am your age.
I'm
Okay.
67.
I'm close if you round up.
If
I'm
you
getting there.
round up, add 20.
Okay, wait a second. We're in Boston.
My
That's
age.
too old.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm
we're
not
in
too
Bo-
old. I'm not
I
too
am
old.
your age. I live in
What's
Boston.
too old?
Too old. Too old is when you first wake up and you feel all things start to creak and you feel sore.
Susan, James, where do you live? What do you do?
God.
We want to know it
that's
all,
so many
James.
at once. Let's start at the beginning. I am too
Okay.
old. I live in
What's
Boston.
too old?
Too old. Too old is when you first wake up and you feel all things start to creak and you feel sore.
Susan,
That's
are
Baby,
you?
old.
wait till you're my
That's
age.
too old.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm
we're
not
in
too
Bo-
old. I'm not
I
too
am
old.
your age. I am your age.
I'm
Okay.
67.
I'm close if you round up.
If
I'm
you
getting there.
round up, add 20.
Okay, wait a second. Where in Boston do you live?
So I'm by Assembly Row, so a little bit north of Boston. about
Where?
10
I'm
minutes
sorry,
out.
I didn't hear what you said.
Assembly Row.
Assembly
So-
Road.
Somerville, Cambridge.
Oh, Somerville. I lived in
yeah,
Cambridge.
yeah.
I
Oh,
lived
nice.
right on the river in Cambridge.
So we were neighbors.
We were neighbors.
that.
Well, you
See
were you
that.
were just a twinkle in your parents' eye when I lived there, but yeah. Okay, and then tell me what you do for a living. What's your life like?
So I've had an interesting career path. I've gone through many, many different careers, from an engineer to a cardiac technician to an EMT. So currently, I manage the wine and beverage programs for within a group of restaurants in Boston.
Wow.
I'm coming. Never mind. Don't
That's
send me the
fun.
hat. I'll come and get the
You'll
hat.
come
You can
get the
take me
hat.
out for dinner.
Listen,
you
we'll
didn't-
open up a bottle of wine.
I
wait,
love that.
I've got
I
one
love
right
it.
here. I'm toasting to you right now. Cheers.
Oh my
All right.
God.
I'm getting.
Wait.
Go
I
ahead.
don't have a glass.
Well,
oh, no.
just you know what?
All right, Kathy,
Fake
we'll
it till
send
you
him
make it.
glasses
We'll
for the
toast.
wine, and he'll
Okay.
send us hats.
There you go, James.
That's a deal.
There's one career that you did not mention that you excel at, and we're going to get into it in a little
Oh
bit.
yes, you do.
Oh, no.
You are an incredible,
A stand-up man.
inadvertent dating coach
Yeah.
for your sister.
Am I?
Yes, you
Hey,
are.
we watched you.
We watched you.
Kudos to you, baby. And we'll get
Yeah,
into that.
We're going to get into that in just a second, but I just want
So-
you can add that to your resume, okay?
We
Will
have a
do,
good
yeah.
question for you. What is something that is a deal breaker for you in a relationship?
Cigarette smoking.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, oh, cheers.
I can't do it.
I literally just drank to that.
How about for you, Kathy?
Cheers to that.
Cigarette smoking. I'm with you.
Oh,
Where were you
had
when I was
other
looking,
one.
James?
What other deal break? We just talked about this, about a date being rude to the wait staff, you know?
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Being rude to wait staff.
Bad breath.
Bad breath.
Yeah.
That's another one.
Just rudeness in general. Being cheap.
Yeah.
Lies,
I told you,
lies,
and
cheat.
guy,
Yeah.
how about a guy that invites you out on a date
Mhm.
and asks you to go to happy hour and then wants you to split a drink and an appetizer?
No,
I've
no.
had that.
So
Oh,
I
I've
will
had
always
that.
pay for the first. I will always pay for the first. Always.
I will pay my way if I know I'm never going to see them again.
Susan, can you hold this down? I got to go book a flight for Boston. I'm going to go meet him.
There's no happy hour in Boston though.
You're just
Why?
happy to live in Boston.
Oh,
You got it.
please.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
the way it
tell
works
me
is
about. Go ahead.
I will always pay for the first date for the first drink, but then we'll split the second. So that's usually how it goes.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
All right.
Wait a minute.
I
Wait
think,
a minute.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. You know, I'm just trying to be myself, and so
Okay,
I think
well,
that's
yeah.
the way.
Are
that
you in
most
a
dates go.
relationship, James? We're grilling you.
I am not. I am single.
James, that might be why. Pay for the second glass of
Is
wine.
that why? Hey, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
You know what? I don't care. You just gotta be generous. I don't care what what ship you're sailing. You gotta be generous or
Listen,
you're
I'm
just,
generous in a lot of different ways.
okay.
Fair
Give me
enough.
your top three.
Fair enough.
Top three. So let's talk about love language. So one of my love languages
Jesus,
is
I hate
giving.
this. Is what?
You don't like giving.
No,
And
I
so
No,
don't.
I give
I
a lot.
love the love
No,
language.
let me say,
yeah.
Susan
See,
loves
there
the
you go.
language. I love the conversation. I get confused, James, because it's it what I want or what I want to give to you.
It's how
you
you
clarify
receive
it.
love, how you
Yeah.
feel love.
But it's also how you
for
give
me,
love,
it's how
too. It's
I give
different.
love.
Yes.
My
Yeah.
love language is how I
But you
give
want to
love.
give love to your partner the way they receive love. So you have
this
to know
sounds like an
how
algebra
they
problem.
feel.
If
It's
A plus
not.
B
It's
equals C,
simple.
then the
It's
derivative
simple.
of D squared. I can't. I just
Kathy, I'm buying you that cute little book. It's really simple.
I've had it given to me before.
Did you
Just
read
be-
it?
I did, but I just
Why
be
don't you
kind.
get it?
Because
I'm not understanding what
I don't know
part
because
you're
I was an
missing.
English major. You would think I would, right? I don't know. I can't.
Okay, so you're single. So are we.
I am.
Okay.
Yes.
So are we.
Hey, let's get together.
Tell me your relationship with your sister growing up.
It was shaky. You know,
Yeah.
we weren't always close.
Because you're
I
a
remember
big
there was-
age difference, right?
for sure. And so
Right.
we were both
How
also
many years?
very
How many years
stubborn
apart are
people.
you two?
We are 9 years apart.
Okay.
that's
How
not
old is
bad.
she? How old is
I know.
Jen?
We'll figure this out later, Kathy.
She's 26.
He's not
I
even
wanna say.
40.
You're
27?
35. You are a child.
Yeah.
No.
You just said
Gray
you're
hairs are
9 years.
coming in.
Huh?
You know
Gray
what?
hairs
When
are
you're
coming in.
55, you're going to rephrase that statement, you know?
Oh. Wait,
Probably.
could I
Probably.
have a round of applause, please, for for figuring out how to find out how old he was?
Wait, so you weren't that close, or sometimes you were, sometimes you weren't?
We
She
went
was
through
like your
phases.
pesky little sister, or
A
you know?
little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were both like super stubborn, and so we always kind of got under each other's skins, and then we would
Okay.
refuse to apologize. And so
Ah.
I remember there were like years where we just wouldn't talk to each other at all.
Wait a minute. You
And
years?
were born in Vietnam, right?
I was, yeah,
How old were you when you came to the United States?
4. I was 4.
So your sister, and of course you didn't speak English when you came.
Not right away.
Okay, but by the time your sister came along, there was no
Yeah.
language barrier.
No,
Okay.
no. So she was, yeah.
Was
Oh,
she
was she
spoiled? Did you
spoiled?
think she was a spoiled little girl, or?
Honestly, she wasn't. Like
Okay.
she just never. She like always kind of was rooted down to earth. You know, grew up very hardworking. So
Mhm.
she wasn't spoiled. If anything, I was a spoiled first child, right?
Ah, okay.
It's
Okay.
just
Sure.
you and your sister? Just you and Jen?
So me and Jen, just us.
Yeah,
Well, I'll
just
tell you
the-
what, for having all those ups and downs, you sure showed up for her.
You sure
I-
did.
I
recently.
did, yeah.
A few months ago, I was dealing with a lot of physician-formulated results in 3 to 6 capsule needs a staple. It was the jacket, and Abercrombie has such good quality coats to transition into cold.
A mini cookie for a quick treat or a party pack of dessert, every moment into a delightful
You had, or was it just struck me, especially given how the whole I was impressed that you didn't get. And I want to ask you, so when I watched the show, before I knew I was going to get that fabulous hat that's on your head, I was impressed that you didn't give your blessing to Devin, that you said you couldn't do it. I want to know, was it a feeling you had, or was it just struck me, especially given how the whole thing ended up.
Did you prepare for it, or did it
you
just
have
come out?
Did you have a miracle? What's it called? A crystal ball? I mean, tell me about it.
No, I mean, honestly, to be honest, I just didn't feel either of the guys. And so it just felt wrong to give my blessing, especially before talking to the other guy and before talking to Jen about Devin. And so I felt like it was just too premature to ask for my blessing. So there's no way I was going to give it. There's no way.
So what advice did you give her? What advice did you give her after you met the two guys? If you could say.
Yeah, I mean, I told her what I thought about both guys, where I felt like, Devin didn't really say anything about her. It was all about him. Yeah. And then Marcus just didn't really say anything at all. So like all he said was kind of just stuff that just wasn't relevant to my questions. And
all
so
right,
that was frustrating.
So
they danced around the answer.
All right, so
exactly, yeah.
Given that, clearly you're a guy who gives advice and cares about your sister. I want to know what advice you would give to family members or friends of people that are trying to date,
like us,
trouble with toxic relationships. And how do you support people in that situation? Because toxic relationships are tough.
You need to recognize the patterns. If you've always been in toxic relationships, then you need to kind of sit down and ask why. What does this guy have the same and similar with like this guy? Compare your exes and be like, why am I falling for the same type over and over again? Why isn't it working? And that's kind of how you get out of that pattern. So it's all about recognizing.
So that's what you think would be most important that you would tell a young woman, from your point of view, to look out for when they're dating.
I mean, it's more about themselves, right? So like what I told Jen was she knows what she deserves, right? She knows how she wants to be treated, and she knows how she doesn't want to be treated. And so as long as you come into a relationship with that, then you can easily rule guys out who don't kind of put in that effort that you deserve. And it's more about recognizing that sign early and kind of cutting it loose, where I feel as if most people kind of just stay on. The
red flag that we speak of, yes.
Right. But most people kind of stay in that relationship and try to change that person.
Yeah, think it's going to get better. Yeah.
It never will. It never will. So
I know. I learned the hard way.
So from your point of view, we've cut we've cut so many loose, it's shredded on the floor at this point. What do you think is some things you think is most important for a young woman to look? I would ask you to look for when they're dating, but also to look out for.
Definitely communication. I think is the most important part.
Our C word.
Yeah, but it's not just communicating about, what you want to eat at the time. It's more about having those difficult conversations.
Yes.
Because that's how you know if you're on the same page or not moving forward.
And it's okay to agree to disagree about certain things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. As long as you're both in the know.
Yes. So. Yes. Very good point. Very good point. Yep.
It's so hard.
So how do you go about dating? Do you go on dating sites, if you don't mind me asking?
I am on a few dating sites, yes.
And how's that working out?
Primarily Hinge, and it's been eventful.
Can I tell you that's how my son, Susan officiated their wedding back in March. And he met her on Hinge. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the new way to date. So
it's not really. It's the old way to date.
What's the new way?
There's a big push now to get off to. I hate the word organically, but there you have it.
Don't you think some guys like they window shop? I mean, it's about a look. because you're not talking to anybody. You're not seeing them physically. So you're window shopping and you're scrolling through who's going to swipe which way.
I mean, it appeals to me. I love window shopping.
Okay,
Just
good.
going to stores, looking at what they're selling. Can't afford any of it.
I always
but
buy
love it.
everything. That's my problem.
And trust me, she does. Okay, so wait a minute. What advice were you given in terms of dating relationships? Because you're over 30. What
Like
do you still
advice
hold
way
on
back
to?
when that you
I know,
still
really.
hold
Way
on
back
to.
when,
Yeah.
when you were 34, what advice do you still hold on to? Like, what are those nuggets that you still hold in your arsenal of dating weaponry?
Yeah. I mean, things that I look for is
That
definitely
sounded very
emotional
aggressive.
intelligence. A little bit.
Emotional, right?
Emotional intelligence, for
Yeah.
sure.
Emotional availability too.
availability.
They have to be, yes.
Yeah. Definitely communication. And so
Mm-hmm.
just all the basics. And I know it's basic sounding, it's very cliche, but it's hard to find out there. It's very hard.
And can you figure that out on the first date?
Usually, yeah. So I'm pretty good at being able to kind of read people on the first date and knowing whether there's going to be a second date or a third date. But at the same time, I feel like I jump into the first dates very, very soon. And so when I'm on Hinge, I'll answer back and forth probably 4 or 5 times before
Yeah,
I'm
let's
like,
meet.
Let's have
Let's
a drink.
meet.
But
I'm
James,
with
Because
you.
I can't go back
Let
and
me-
forth.
but
With
how
you,
many
even if it's
times-
just a quick cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Let's
Right.
meet. If
Right.
there's some chemistry, we want to know more, then we'll plan a date.
That's
I
what I
don't
was
even
just
call
gonna
that a
say.
date.
That's what I was going to
Exactly.
say. I have gone on date. I've talked to guys, 4
Yeah.
or 5 times saying, oh, this guy, I'll meet him for a drink or a cup of coffee or split an appetizer. But then when I meet him, he is so different than the conversation we had. Do you find that as well?
Usually, yeah. But not too differently, because you can kind of tell by the tone of how they text what kind of person they'll be.
Really?
And so I'll go on record here and say that I've never had a bad first date, I don't think.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's
and so
incredible.
That's
usually
so
we vibe
nice.
we vibe pretty well.
That's-
Even if it's
I
just like
only
a
had
friendly vibe
one.
or whatnot.
James,
Ooh, I wanna
I had
hear-
one bad first
I want to
date.
hear about this. What
He
happened?
ghosted me.
Oh no.
He didn't show up.
I've got a worse first date, which I have never told, but I'll tell you if you want to hear it.
Yes.
It was a guy I met online, and he was coming from, I can't remember, he lived in a different state, but he spends a lot of time in Austin for some reason, which is where I live.
Okay.
And we talked 3 or 4 times because I did exactly what we were just saying. And he seemed super fun and interesting and my kind of guy and active in sports and all of it. And somehow we got on the subject of whiskey. I like a good whiskey. And Blanton's is, Blanton, if you're listening out there, send me a bottle. Blanton's is
Hey,
a very...
me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I love Bland.
I love Blanton's, right?
I never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's a very expensive but really good whiskey.
I don't drink whiskey. Go
So
on.
I said to him, he wanted to come and stay with me on the weekend. I'd never met the guy. And I said, look, if you can get me a bottle of Blanton's, you can come and stay at my house. Thinking that you can't get it in Texas. It's impossible. So I thought, I'm good. Yet guess what? He shows up with a bottle of Blanton's.
Oh my God.
No way.
I'm not kidding. And I looked at that bottle and it was like I was sick. And so I said, I was speechless. I said, I was joking. He goes, you can't back out now. I said, oh, yes, I really can.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I said, yeah, I can, and I am. It was a joke. Well, you didn't tell me it was a joke, and I spent a lot of money. It's very
Well, I would have
expensive.
bought it. I would have paid for it.
No.
Get out of it.
I was so fearful at that point when he was, I know you probably think I'm aggressive. I'm really not. It's just my way.
Yeah.
But I was scared to death. I was like, oh my God, how do
He had
and
your
so-
address?
No, we met at a restaurant for dinner, and he thought he was coming back to my house.
Oh,
I said, because I had told him to make a hotel reservation.
Right.
And he said, I said, but if you show up with a bottle of Blanton's, you could stay with me.
You were
I mean,
teasing, yeah.
talk about Kathy running her mouth.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, that's my worst dating story.
So how was that? How was the rest of dinner?
Yeah, did you sit through dinner?
Yeah. Or did you walk
honestly-
out with the bottle?
Honestly,
Give me the bottle. Here's some money. I'm out.
he did give me the bottle of whiskey.
Oh,
I never
was
saw him
nice.
again. It was.
Aw.
I've blocked it. If we're being honest, I did get the bottle. The bottle's long gone, but
She
it was
drank that bottle.
the worst. You know what? Don't make a. What is it? Don't make a promise your ass can't catch. Like, oh my God, never again will I say. You know.
Well, here's the question: when you drink Bland's, do you still think of him and that date?
Hell no. Hell no. Why would I ruin good whiskey with a bad memory? No, thank you.
Okay, you
Amen.
too.
Amen.
I think we need to
I love
move
that.
on. I think
Yeah,
we
I
need to
think
move on
so
here,
too.
Susan.
So, James, we're going to go through some people's questions that they sent in to us, and we're all three going to share what our advice would be to them.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool.
So listen, because you're going to be giving your opinions here.
I've been on the hunt to curate my perfect capsule wardrobe, and spoiler alert, it's such cute names.
And Snickerdoodle. So there's always something been easier. Perfect for family gatherings or simply
Cellar is the healthy gut product and their origin, ancient sources of modern wellness and beauty.
I've had a lot of time to reflect on this, and I'm really hoping you.
At terraorigin.com.
The first one is from Charlize, and she's 26 years old.
Okay.
Hi, Kathy and Susan. I love your podcast, and I'm really hoping you can help me out. I've been single for about a year and a half. I'm in no rush to start dating again, but for the first time in a really long time, I feel ready. I've had a lot of time to reflect on the things I want in a relationship, and it's making me realize how much better my friends and I deserve. We've always joked that we've been the blind leading the blind, just lover girls always giving men the benefit of the doubt. How do I start dating with a balanced mentality, and how can I help my friends do the same? I don't want to be closed off and unfairly accusatory of kind men, but I definitely don't want to be back in the same cycle I've always been in, bending over backwards for the bare minimum. Then feeling disappointed when I finally had enough heartbreak. What are some things I can do or keep in mind so I can also share with them with my friends? I know we can be such a great support system for each other. We just need some guidance. Thanks so much. She's 26.
What do you think, James?
Okay. First and
I
foremost.
mean, she's off to a great start. You know, her and her friends know that they deserve better.
Yep.
And so the first sign is always recognizing that. And then from then on, I think it's easy. You know, it's kind of, you start dating in a relationship, right? And you kind of have to sit back and be like, is he giving me what I deserve? And if the answer is yes, you keep going. And if the answer is no, you stop. And I feel like that's the hard part, where most people are like, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's going to change. He's going to change for me. And usually it doesn't work out. And so I think she's on the right path.
Yeah.
Just realizing it. Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
I think when a couple of things, I think when someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. I would say that. But also, I think that I can't speak for men because I'm not one, but I think that women often, the fear of, I won't find someone, so I have to make this one or try to make this one what will work. I'm not sure that I think it's as easy. I love your philosophy. You believe you deserve better, so go get better, right? Go get.
Yeah. But
I'm
hard.
not sure
it's
women. I think
hard.
it's really hard. I don't know about men. Is it hard for men?
It's hard for men. It's hard for men too. I get attached very easily, and I kind of hang on and kind of hope that things will be better.
Oh God, I'm hopeless, James. Just like
So I'm with you, but you know, I'm great at giving advice, not so much taking my own advice.
But that's the
why I'm
point.
single.
Yeah, but that's exactly
hear
the
that.
point. This girl knows, but it's almost like she can't. She said, she's tired. She doesn't want to be back in the same cycle of bending over for the bare minimum. And yet she knows it. But I think that's what we all struggle with is knowing.
She has a support system now. And so that's kind of where you rely on your friends, where your friends are like, hey, this
Help
guy's
each
doing
other.
this, right? He's not like treating you well. And you
But
can't
her
just brush
friends
that
aren't
off.
getting it sounds like from Charlize, her friends are in the same boat. So
and
just
she
think
also
it's
says,
hard.
I don't want to be closed off. Like that's total opposite. You don't close yourself off. You
Yeah.
just be more aware.
But it's hard though, because after you're getting hurt so often, you naturally just close up. Trust your gut, trust your friends, and don't settle.
Kathy would say, "A red flag is a red flag, and it's not going to turn
You
any other
cannot paint
color."
a red flag white or beige.
Right.
A red flag. There's red flags, and there's bleeding red flags, and there's
You know what? And I was
bleeding.
definitely, for most of my life, exactly what this girl has said.
Yeah.
I'm a giver. I get excited. I fall hard and fast. And then I do everything. I jump into their world and do everything they like to do. And everything's so fun and this, that. And then 3 months in, you want to do something that you like and it's not there. And then you start realizing, oh, wow, this isn't, it's not me.
But
that hits close to home.
It does.
But you know what, James and Susan? Here's the hope for all of us that we see it and that maybe this will be the time that we'll meet that person. No, but you have to have faith, right? You have
but
to
not
have faith.
everybody does like the same exact things as we do. So where do you draw that line,
I'm just saying maybe this is the time where we are aware and cognizant of what's going on and we choose to get off the bus before we've ridden all the way through the city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is the turning point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully we're all strong enough to do that. And Charlize, I wish you luck, but you do have a support system with your friends and take each other's advice.
Charlize, maybe reach out to James.
Yes, please do.
Please do.
We've got an available young man here.
Here we are. All right. Next question is from an anonymous mom. Hi, ladies. I need your help. I'm a mom to 3 kids, a daughter who is 15, a son who is 12, and another daughter who is 10. I've been through a lot in my life, beginning in my childhood, and I've worked very hard on my mental health. Ever since college, I've made sure to heal from my trauma, establish healthy coping mechanisms, and do therapy anywhere from once a month to twice a week. I'm 50 now. I have a great husband who steps up when I need time for my mental health. I still struggle with some depression, anxiety, and PTSD. For the most part, it's manageable. So here's my question. How do I talk to my oldest daughter about these things? When I become a mom, I promised myself that I wouldn't let my kids see me when things get really bad because I never want them to worry about me. But I feel it's important that I teach my daughter and my other kids, when I feel they're old enough and ready, that it's okay to not be 100% okay sometimes. Mm-hmm. I don't want my kids to grow up thinking I was perfect and had it all together all the time, because that's just not how life works. I want to be honest and human with my daughter while still being a parent that she sees as her sturdy foundation. My husband is so great, but he doesn't have the struggles that I do. So this conversation is really up to me. He'll be there with me to weigh in if things get murky, but he trusts me to do this. Thank you, ladies. And James. Love you.
And James.
And James. So what do you think, James?
This one also hits close to home. And so it's something that I struggled with growing up, where my dad was definitely more the, never show emotion. Everything's always okay. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I learned growing up. So I never showed emotion. And so when I was on the show with Jen, that was the first time that I'd ever cried in front of anybody. An ex, a dog, my parents, anybody. And here I was on TV just crying. And so it's something that I've had to work through, just showing more emotion and just letting people know that I'm not feeling okay. Mm-hmm. And so I think she has the right idea here where, that's something that her kids need to kind of see and learn. And that's kind of how they become more in touch with their emotions and kind of develop that side better. So
that's
I
really
definitely
cool.
applaud her for doing that. Yeah,
wow.
Absolutely. I wonder how bad when she needs time for her mental health and her husband steps in so she could have private time. Does she freak out or, the PTSD? What is it from? But maybe one of your children has the same issue.
Right.
It would do you so well to educate them. And you know why mommy leaves sometimes? Because mommy gets depressed or mommy gets stressed out. Share it. Definitely share it.
And that's okay. And that's okay.
It is okay. It is.
I agree with both of you wholeheartedly. James, my mouth dropped open when you said that was the first time you'd ever cried, because to me, that was such a heartfelt moment on the show. Mm-hmm. And and just a little bit we've talked, I would have said, oh, he's a very warm, heartfelt, share his feeling kind of guy. I mean, that's how you come off.
But you know what?
Yeah.
A lot of boys are taught that, Kathy. Not
They
today
are.
so much. Now it's okay. Look at the men on Jones season, the very first night when their daughters came up, and it happened to be filmed on Father's Day,
Right.
and they all cried. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Whereas our parents or our grandparents, when they raised a son, that was, you're less of a man. You have to be able to be strong and hold it back. I don't think that's necessary. It's good to show feeling.
It is, but we come from different generations, you know? Like in
True.
my generation back in the day, about 60 years ago, we just weren't taught to show emotion. So
Wait, I have a question, James, for you. And I don't know if we have enough time, but we'll just jump into it really quickly.
sure.
You obviously have come from a different culture. Your parents come from a different culture. How important is that for you to date? I know they talked about it with Jen. Is it important to you to date within your culture? Just give me a little down and dirty version of what you're thinking.
I don't think it
about.
has to be within my culture. I think I just need to find somebody that is accepting of my culture and is willing to learn more about it and kind of immerse themselves in it. And obviously I would do the same for their culture.
Vice
right.
versa.
So it's just, right. So it doesn't have to be within my culture. It's more about just learning about each other and culture included. So
I like that. It's like
I like
Jewish
that.
people with Christian people or Catholic people that do Christmas and Hanukkah. You know, that's
exactly.
something.
The more holidays, the better.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I just think you are an incredible guy.
You're a good dude,
really,
man.
You're caring, and you obviously love your sister. And I just
But
think you're.
I have to
really,
admit, though, when you were first, you were a little like, I was like, whoa.
I was intense.
You're not
yeah.
going to give these guys an easy, you know.
Yeah.
It was
I mean, I
good.
shouldn't, right? I shouldn't.
I gave you
respect
nothing
that,
but
Susan.
respect.
I
Absolutely.
respect
That's
that
what
you
I'm
did that. I
saying.
think, yeah. But I will say, when you cried, to hear that that's the first time you've ever cried. Wow.
Yeah.
So are you and Jen really close now then?
We're getting closer. So we still have things to work on, but we're definitely aware of it. And I think the show kind of brought us a little closer and kind of pushed us towards reconciliation. Because I know
that's
before
nice.
this, like, we were a little bit rocky. So
But she is your sister.
she is. And I love her, you know, so
Regardless,
much.
right? But to
regardless.
work on that relationship and have good times and make memories is important.
Yeah. I mean, she's still a brat 90% of the
Well,
time.
yeah,
but
she's Jen.
She is. She is.
And she has
We're working
beautiful
on
hair.
it.
Can I just say she has beautiful hair?
Oh, God.
I mean, people say that she looks beautiful, and I just don't see it. I think she's
What?
she's an ugly duckling, and I don't
Okay,
know
wait a
how
second.
she made it.
You
that
You
are
know
a
far.
very
what? I liked
handsome-
you for 5 minutes. I'm over it.
I don't believe you
Do you
think
see her
that at all.
dancing right now?
You're a handsome guy, and she is a beautiful girl. Just say you're right, Kathy, and we can move on.
You're right, Kathy.
Okay. And
You're a
that
hard
does it.
one, James. You're a hard one. I don't know. You
Hey,
tell me when you fall in love.
I like to pick on her.
I know. And I'm sure she loves it. You know what? Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
We've
I've
enjoyed
had a
you.
blast.
I hope you did. I hope you don't hate us.
No, not at all.
Oh, no.
James, I cry in front of everybody. I'm just saying. It's easy for me.
Yeah.
And James, you're not going anywhere because I need to give you my address for that hat.
Oh, that's right.
Absolutely. I remember.
But
Again, we
listen,
thank you. We enjoyed you.
Loved getting to chat with you. And thank everybody for joining us. Please, guys, be sure to follow us on Bachelor Happy Hour. Who wants to miss this conversation with James? Let me just say, we have new episodes coming out every week. They might not be as good as this one with James, but yeah, they're all pretty good.
And what would we do without these questions? I mean, who would think to ask something like that? You guys do. And we love it. So keep them coming, please. Just go to bachelornation.com/golden hour or hit us up on social at Bachelor Happy Hour.
And please listen to Bachelor Happy Hour's Golden Hour on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Until next time.
See you later.
I've been on the hunt to curate my perfect capsule wardrobe, and spoiler alert, it's from Abercrombie. Every capsule needs a staple pair of jeans, and Abercrombie's low-rise baggy jean has become my new favorite. I was nervous to try a low-rise, but their jean actually hits at a really comfortable spot.